Okay, we are now in Matthew 22. We're going to talk about the parable of the wedding feast, which has been talked about a lot lately. But we're going to see what the Bible actually says. So here we go. Before we begin, just to let you know, my name is Jenny. This is Ripples of Faith, and I'm reading from the New King James Version. So, chapter 22, verse 1, Jesus answered and spoke to them again by parables and said, "The kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who arranged a marriage for his son and sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding, and they were not willing to come. Again, he sent out other servants, saying, 'Tell those who are invited, see, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and fatted cattle are killed, and all things are ready. Come to the wedding.' But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his own farm, another to his business, and the rest seized his servants, treated them spitefully, and killed them. And then the king heard about it. He was furious, and he sent out his armies, destroyed those murderers, and burned up their cities. Then he said to his servants, 'The wedding is ready, but those who are invited were not worthy. Therefore go into the highways, and as many as you find, invite to the wedding.' So those servants went out to the highways and gathered together all whom they had found, both good and bad, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw a man who did not have on wedding garment. So he said to them, 'Friend, how did you come in here without a wedding garment?' And he was speechless. Then the king said to the servants, 'Bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen.'" My note here says, "Those with the greatest need have the greatest faith." Then the Pharisees went and plotted how they might entangle him in his talk, and they sent him to their disciples with the Herodians, saying, "Teacher, we know that you are true and teach the way of God in truth, nor do you care about anyone, for you do not regard the person of men. Tell us, therefore, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, "Why do you test me, you hypocrites? Show me the tax money." So they brought him a denarius, and he said to them, Whose image and inscription is this?" And they said to him, "Caesar." And he said to them, "Render therefore to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God." When they heard these words, they were marveled and left him and went their way. And so basically, my note on this says that submission to worldly laws does not equal godly morality. So yes, we're supposed to obey the laws of the land that you live in, as long as they don't contradict God's laws. But we are also, more importantly, supposed to abide by God's laws. Verse 23, the same day the Sadducees who were there, verse 23, the same day the Sadducees who say there is no resurrection came to him and asked him, saying, "Teacher, Moses said that if a man dies having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were with us 7 brothers. The first died after he had married, and having no offspring, left his wife to his brothers. Likewise the second also, and the third, even to the 7th. Last of all the women died also. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife of the 7 shall she be? For they all had her." And Jesus answered and said to them, "You are mistaken, not knowing the Scriptures nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels of God in heaven. But concerning the resurrection of the dead, have you not read that it was spoken to you by God, saying, 'I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob'? God is not the God of the dead, but of the living." And when the multitudes heard this, they were astonished at his teaching. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. Then one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him and saying, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment of the law?" Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments hang the law and the prophets." And my little note says that there's 10 commandments. The first 4 are towards God, and the last 6 are how we teach others. This is also very close to something that was written in Deuteronomy. I think it's, I want to say 6-7, only because the kids are doing that 6-7 thing. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. You can check me on that if you want. Verse 41, when the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, saying, "What do you think about the Christ? Whose son is he?" And they said to him, "The son of David." And he said to them, "How then does David in the Spirit call him Lord, saying, 'Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool'?" Now I need to clarify something. In this, in English, where it says the Lord, all 4 letters are capitalized. Said to my Lord, just the L is capitalized. And so I have a couple notes here. Lord means 2 different things. In Hebrew, Lord, all 4 letters capitalized, is Yahweh, God. Lord with just the first letter capitalized is Adonai, meaning master. So capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D means Yahweh in the Hebrew, when you're going back to this quote, right? And then Lord, capital L, lowercase o, lowercase r, lowercase d is Adonai, master. David is talking about a future king or descendant of him. Jesus is in his lineage, and this comes from Psalms 110 verse 1. And then I have another note here. So comparing from version to version, my NIV Bible actually doesn't print the 2 lords separately or differently. So in this one, my New King James, it says the Lord with all 4 capital letters said to my Lord with just the first letter capitalized. And the King James, the NIV just says my Lord said to my Lord. And they look the same, probably just a capital L, if I can remember correctly. But, that's why it's kind of important to compare different versions of the Bible for different reasons. So if you're somebody who mainly reads NIV, it could be beneficial if you occasionally read another version, whether it's New King James or the ESV or any of the others, just to get a different perspective on the translations, and it'll help you understand a little bit better. Verse 45, if David then calls him Lord with just the capital L, how is he his son? And if no one was able to answer him a question, and no one was able to answer him a word, nor from that day on did anyone dare question him anymore. Okay.